Greetings, humans and non-humans. This is Anantu World, transmitting from the confines of my parents' basement to you. Let's talk about UAPs and drones. Let me first start this off with saying that I'm coming at this with a bias. And to explain that a little bit further, I'm going to give you the account of my own experience with encountering a UAP, or unidentified aerial phenomena. And in the past, I never used to tell this story really too much, except for maybe family, because people turn their head and they look at you kind of cockeyed, like, you're fucking crazy, dude. And this story is being recounted from when I was about 18 years old, and it was during the summer, and I used to work at a movie theater, and me and a friend that I used to drive home because he lived a block away, so I usually just park in front of my parents' house. We had to close that theater, and so we didn't get out of there until about maybe just after midnight. So usually when I would get back home, I'd park in front of my parents' house because I was still living with them. And we'd sit there and bullshit for a few minutes, and then he'd just walk home, which was a couple, just a block away or whatever. And we're sitting there and we're bullshitting. And then all of a sudden he points and he's like, "What the hell is that?" And as someone who is just like, as a kid, you fuck around. You're just like, ha, I made you look, right? So I was having none of that shit. I was going to get fooled by him. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. And he fucking grabs my shoulders and he turns me around and points at this strange thing in the sky. And he's like, no, what the fuck is that? And I kind of froze because my brain was trying to comprehend what I was looking at. So in a westerly direction, there was this shimmering object that seemed to me to be trying to cloak. At first, my brain is like, that's just a black garbage bag, a giant black garbage bag shimmering in the sky from the streetlights, no big deal. And then it started moving towards us, and it got bigger and bigger. And it was moving very slowly, no sound, and suddenly it was kind of over us. There's this tree that was in front of my parents' house, and it was hovering right above that tree, like right above us. And I could see kind of that shimmering break, like something was happening with, I don't know, as far as I can tell, their cloaking mechanism was malfunctioning or something was going on. I'm still trying to work that out, but you could see the underbelly of this thing. The shimmering was kind of dissipating, and you could see, like, right underneath it, it was this silvery metallic color. Now, I'm not sure if it was an orb or disc shape because we were looking at it from below, but suddenly it started moving again, and I guess it just was like, well, let's just get the fuck out of here because people are viewing us. I'm not sure, but it was under some kind of intelligent control because it's literally stopped above us. And I would say maybe this thing was about 100 feet up or 200 feet up. It was hard to judge. I know that my parents' tree was probably about maybe 50 feet tall. So a little bit higher than that. So that's why I'm judging it at about 100 feet in the air. And I would say this thing was probably maybe 30 to 40 feet round as we looked at it, possibly bigger. Because my brain was still trying to comprehend what it was seeing. It's never seen something like this before. So it's trying to adjust and recognize what I'm looking at. But anyways, it starts moving slowly at first, but then it just picks up speed, and it just kind of shot away into a pinpoint of light in the sky. It was gone. And I would say the entire encounter probably lasted from maybe 1 minute to 1.5 minutes in total, because it did hover above us for a little bit. And we were kind of we weren't panicking, But we were just like, what the fuck? You know how like teenagers are just like, oh my God, holy shit. And as soon as it left, we ran inside my parents' house, who they were still up. They were watching some program on TV because I believe it was the weekend. And we told them what we saw. And, you know, my mom's like, oh, yeah, I believe you, you know. So it was strange, you know, and now that I look back at it, you know, it's a memory that is still kind of fresh in my mind because it was so bizarre. This is a global phenomena happening from New Jersey to New York to California to Arizona to Texas to the UK to China to Russia. These things are global. And of course, I have my theories and speculation about what is going on, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So let's start off with what is happening in New Jersey, where there are these, quote, drone sightings happening on a nightly basis, and it's been going on for over a month now. And they are in the skies with impunity, meaning that there's nothing the government is doing about it. The video footage that is being released by various people recording these things shows that these things have kind of navigation lights that are blinking, which are red and green. And then, you know, of course, a few white lights, you know, that don't blink. So what are they? You have one congressman who made a complete fucking fool out of himself. New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew, who's a Republican, who says that these drone ships are from Iran and that there's a Iranian mothership off of the coast. And that's where they're coming from.
How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, you know, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down.
The Pentagon immediately made a statement saying, well, that's not true. There is no Iranian mothership off of the coast, East Coast, that are sending these things up.
Sabrina, can you tell me what the Pentagon is doing to address this issue of drone sightings over New Jersey? It's near sensitive installations. The FBI is involved. What is the Pentagon doing?
Sure. So at this time, aware of those drone sightings that have been reported, at this time, we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but, at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring.
Can you rule out that these are American drones or U.S. military drones?
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
And the messed up thing here is, stop saber rattling. These people saber rattle. They want to start a war with somebody. They think that just because something is unexplainable, that it's something nefarious, that they need to point the finger and go to war with these people, bomb them. You know, and when you think about this logically, Iran does not have this capability, period. There's actually two types of craft that we're witnessing in these video footages that are being put out by the public of these witnesses that are recording this stuff. One type is, of course, the ones with the blinking red and green lights. And the other type is like an orb, like an energy ball. There is video of a drone or something kind of being disabled by a UAP. And I will be showing that footage right here.
Something's going up real fast. A plane? I can't tell what it is. Whoa, is that moving quick? That could be a drone. I don't know what the hell that is. But that is quick. There's only one remaining right now. Whatever that green flashing one is, he moved quick around it to get it. Super quick. He's like right there with it. Oh, he's like right on it. Ooh, that whatever it was just shut down the drone, if that was a drone. Holy crap.
So let's firstly understand what we're looking at. There's two types of crafts that we are witnessing. The ones with the blinking lights, the navigation lights, which are red and green that are flashing. And then the other ones, which are types of orbs that just kind of hover in the sky. And I think one's human and one is, for the lack of the better word, alien. Or we just don't know what they are, really. And honestly, I don't really think this is anything to panic about. I think that with everything going on in the world, something is trying to tell us something about the paths that we're taking. And here's a video that this mayor in New Jersey is talking about how these drones, which they're now classifying as drones, I suppose, instead of UAP, because who knows why. They're saying that they're not detectable by radar and they cannot track them.
Joining us now, the mayor of Montvale, New Jersey, Mike Caselli. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for being with us. What have you been seeing out there?
So for the last 2-3 weeks, we've been seeing the same thing. Small drones. They are around the schools, around the reservoir, around the streets. We are on track to Teterboro Airport, so we do see small planes, and yes, they do mistake them for a drone, but when they hover and they go up and down, these are not planes. As recent as last night during the Christmas lighting ceremony, there were 2 drones, and then the third one came, and they were in sync, as if someone has a computer program to fly them. And they were right on top of us.
So what do you want to happen? Do you think they should be shot down?
I mean, that might be dangerous, but someone should know. We went to a briefing with the state police and with the director of Homeland Security 2 days ago, and they told us to share this information, which is really nothing. They said these are car-sized drones that stay in the air for about 6 hours. They don't emit any frequency, so they can't catch it, but they don't know where it is leaving from and where it is landing at, which is really, really scary. And there's a genuine fear in at least my community that when they are on top of the reservoir that we drink from, I don't know if they're dropping anything there. They're surveying, they're taking pictures. All that is unknown. And that's what's really frustrating.
You say they can't be tracked. Why can they not be tracked?
So that's the briefing that we got from the state police superintendent. They don't emit any frequency. I have a small
So they're
drone.
not picked up on a radar, is what you're saying.
They're not picked up exactly. I have a small drone. It's a handheld drone. If I fly it over 400 feet, I get a message I am in violation and to drop to below 400 feet. At 400 feet, it's about the size of a penny. For my eyesight, these are the size of a small dining room table, small car, at least.
So whatever's going on, I think we need to approach this with an open mind and use every means of our scientific capability to understand what we are seeing and witnessing. And I know there's a lot of people out there that say, well, these are just airplanes. What these things are displaying are not the characteristics of airplanes. Yes, the ones with the flashing lights definitely do have some characteristics of airplanes, but the orb type ones do not. The ones with the flashing lights also usually are displaying characteristics of some type of advanced drones that perhaps the military is using and not telling the public about. But the orb types are displaying technology that is essentially superior to our own. So I understand why there's a lot of skepticism around this particular subject, and a lot of that has to do with the human ego and kind of thinking that we're the center of the universe and kind of dismissing the point that there could be something out there that's greater intelligence, a superior intelligence than what we have developed. And that's understandable. If you look at government documents that kind of confirm, hey, there's something going on here. We don't know what it is. It's interacting with our nuclear sites. It's doing things that we do not have the capabilities to do. And this is all documented on government records. Then I think the skeptics need to kind of look through that information and see and come up with some kind of explanation on a logical level of what is happening. Because if you're saying it's another state doing it, like a state entity such as Russia, China, Iran, do they really have those types of capabilities? And if so, how did they achieve that level of capability? And if they have achieved that level of technological superiority, don't you think that they would be the dominating technologically advanced society on this planet instead of the US being the dominating power? That's what it seems to all be about anyways, right? Who is the most dominant on this planet, like technologically? And right now, the United States has technological superiority. That's what makes it the most powerful nation on the planet. As we can see from Russia's failings in Ukraine, they do not have technological superiority with their weaponry, with their forces, with their training even of their men in battle. So when we get to this kind of point, when we see these things happening above our cities, like the drones and the UAPs interacting, and we kind of have to come to an understanding that some of this stuff might be, for a lack of better term, out of this world. the crazy thing is the skeptics now have become the conspiracy theorists because they're literally denying what people are recording, changing it into, well, that's just an airplane. Well, airplanes don't have certain characteristics where they can do certain things. Well, they don't have the characteristics to go in the ocean, to make 90-degree turns on in a split second. There's so many things that these skeptics ignore, and I think it's right to be skeptical about some things. I'm skeptical about certain things, but when something's defying all known technology and logical reasoning, then you have to kind of understand that we need to kind of take a different approach. Now, are we being invaded? We don't know. But it seems that something's interacting with our civilization in the skies. Otherwise, we wouldn't see the varying craft, such as the ones with the blinking lights, which I believe are our stuff, versus the orb type ones, which I believe are perhaps non-human intelligence. Because if there is some kind of state out there with that type of technology that the orbs or UAP are displaying, then they would be the dominating power. And some of these conspiracy theories surrounding the events that are happening right before our eyes on a daily basis for the past, over a month now, right? So it started off in the UK with these things going into, Royal Air Force and U.S. Air Force military bases that house nuclear weapons. Of course, the speculation is, well, it's Russia. But like I said, if it was Russia, don't you think they would have been winning the war in the Ukraine? But they're not. They're getting their asses handed to them. And then on another note, it's not just happening in the UK. It's happening in the United States. It's happening in Russia. It's happening in China. It's happening all over the world. Oh, but Anantu world, you don't understand. This is Project Bluebeam, and the government's creating a fake scenario of alien invasion so they can have more control over the public because communism, or some crazy shit like that. But the government never really operates that way, does it? It does things quickly. So if this Project Bluebeam issue was supposedly public knowledge, they would switch their tactics up and they would not be using the same tactic. They would have switched it up. They would have done something completely different. Some of these conspiracy theories are absolutely ridiculous, and I think Project Bluebeam is one of them. To say that we have the technology to create holograms that look real and can interact with your environment is fucking ludicrous. Because for a hologram to interact with a physical environment would determine that, guess what? It's not a hologram. But in Anantu world, they're using quantum spatial distortions in the subatomic field of blah, blah, blah. So see, I am skeptical. I'm skeptical of these conspiracy theories because they're not logical. If we look at things on a logical basis, we could take, let's say, the drones that we're seeing in the sky that have blinking lights, red and green, and then we can look at the UAPs that don't have blinking lights, that are orbish in nature, that are just glowing and hovering, and we can kind of differentiate. One is human tech, and the other perhaps is not. The conspiracy behind these things is what we need to look into. Why are they doing what they're doing? What is the technology behind the drones with the blinking lights? What is the technology behind the UAPs that a lot of people are seeing around the globe? There's obviously something going on that the government refuses to acknowledge. And it's just not the US government, it's every government. There's a hidden agenda, and we don't know what it is. And we can speculate what it is. Is the agenda to hide this information from the public because they want to keep capitalism going, even though it's such a failing system these days that people are getting upset and hurting other people over it, such as the healthcare system and the CEO who was just unalived? What we're seeing is the system breaking down versus not telling you the truth. And when you live in a lie and when they have to keep promoting lies, things break down. And the lies have been perpetuated for a very long time. And now, in some sense, karma seems to be catching up with it. But let me step off my soapbox and let's get back to this UAP issue and talk about what exactly we're seeing here. And here's the truth. It's unknown. It's unknown because of certain factors that are contributing to it being unknown. And it's by design. So as for UAPs, we have had several witnesses come forward stating that whatever is piloting these vehicles are non-human intelligence, meaning they're aliens. These people have testified in front of Congress and have sworn that what they're saying is the truth. Could they be lying? Of course. Of course they could be lying. But what is the logical point of so many people coming forward to lie about a particular subject like this? That's the fallacy behind the argument that it's bullshit, it's fake. When you have hundreds of people coming forward, in fact, probably thousands of witnesses saying, hey, I saw something that I cannot explain, and this is what happened. And then you have certain people confirming, hey, by the way, we worked for the government. This is what we saw, and we can't explain it, but we kind of can explain it because, well, it's aliens. Then what? Then what do you have? Especially when these people say, and take an oath and say, hey, yeah, we're telling the truth. And if we're not telling the truth, we're going to be going to jail. That is significant. And now when these people come forward and people are listening to them and these skeptics are saying, well, they're full of it. Well, then now it's on the skeptics to kind of prove that these people are full of it because these people have the credentials to be in these access programs and top secret programs that give them access to this type of technology. When you have presidents such as Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and even Trump admitting, yes, there's something going on and it's non-human, we don't have these capabilities, then now the skeptics have to be like, okay, well, here's my proof that, what they're saying is a lie. But skeptics don't offer that proof. They just offer speculation on what their beliefs are, just like I offer speculations on what my beliefs are. So the skeptics' idea of what is going on versus my idea of what's going on, they're equal. Except in the fact that I have people who are backed by the government and special access programs saying that this stuff is real versus the skeptics who are only relying on their belief system of, well, it ain't happening. even though reality shows with video and witness, testimony that yes, there is something happening. But I think we need to be very careful when we speculate what is going on, because as we can see, we're not being told exactly what's going on. So that leaves us up to interpretation and speculation, and that can lead to dangerous things. Paranoia, people being afraid and not understanding. And we all see and know where paranoia and not understanding leads. And this is my cautionary tale. Okay? We need to take a deep breath as a collective civilization here on Earth and just realize there's something happening. We're not sure what it is. And we need to pretty much figure it out. And yes, I understand that there are forces at work that are trying to stop people from figuring this out. And those forces have a vested interest in keeping secrets. And unfortunately, that vested interest is keeping people suppressed. And that's all it really comes down to. Because if we had this type of technology, everyone on this planet would be living in abundance. But what better way to control people than to keep them suffering? Right? Anyways, I hope you liked the video. If you do, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I hope you all have a very, very Merry Christmas. Happy holiday, no matter what tradition you celebrate. Happy Yule. And have a very, very happy and merry New Year. I wish you all peace and love. I'm out.